Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again this afternoon as we highlight our holiday showcase to all of you. We are back and we're talking with Dave, who is another featured member in our holiday showcase. And Dave, I don't want to massacre your last name. Is it Agans?
Agans.
Agans. Okay. I should have asked you before and I forgot.
Yes, you
So I'm
should
glad I
have.
got that now because I do not like to massacre last names. So Dave is one of over 55 featured authors in our member showcase, which you can find at nhwritersproject.org. And if you are wondering if there is a unique gift or you're just looking for something for that book lover on your list, this is a great place to go. And you'll also be supporting our local literary community, which we really appreciate. So we've had a series of many live broadcasts over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to talk with Dave today. He's got several books. We're going to talk about one in particular today, which is called Rec League Softball. And this is a funny book. So if you are looking for some good humor for that person, that person on your list, Dave's going to share some funnies with us today, which I love. But Dave, first, before we jump into it, I really need to know why on your website it says, don't take him too seriously. What's that all about?
Don't take me too seriously is my mantra for life. A fraternity brother of mine who I had great adventures with said, "Don't take yourself too seriously," and that is, it's almost like keep your eye on the ball. It's like the best life lesson I think you could ever take. And so I have done all of my writing has been humorous as a result of that, because I just want people to not take things too seriously.
I love that. That's a great mantra. So tell us a little bit about how that's influenced your writing over the years. And then let's talk a little bit about Rec League Softball.
Okay, so I actually started writing funny stuff. I was writing like spy spoofs in 6th grade, hiding behind the person in front of me, scribbling in class. And I've written all kinds of funny things. I wrote a funny musical. I actually wrote a funny technical book called Debugging, which is out there and still sells thousands of copies a year. It's like the classic book on how to debug, but it's funny. Okay. And that's why it's still selling, I guess, because it's not dry and technical. And then I got involved. I said, I really want to write something. I want to write some fiction. And around that time, my wife was in a book club, and they were reading Lolita in Tehran or something, really heavy like that. But there was a statement that said, truly great literature changes the reader's perspective of the world. And I said, I want to make the world a funnier place. So my intent when I wrote a trilogy, which we'll talk about in a little while, was the sort of my writing before the softball book, was to have people, when they go out and look at things in the world, to see humor behind that, to think of funny things when they see ordinary stuff going on. And like I said, I'll get into more detail about how that works on the other book. But I worked on that for a while, but I also have been playing softball with a bunch of fraternity brothers for 50 years with a dog softball team. And we say it's 350 years, actually, because it's dog years. And it's a very casual league, and we drink a lot of beer and stuff. And I wrote a dictionary of rules about softball that are basically giving a hard time to terrible softball players. The subtitle of Rec League Softball is a sport similar to baseball, except played with larger, softer, slower balls by larger, softer, slower players. And so, I put that up as a gift thing, because that's for, if you know anybody who plays any kind of rec league softball, this is not for like your serious girls, college, high school softball players. They're way better than this is. They don't deserve this kind of shit. But the idea is, if you know anybody that's in that sort of thing, that this would make a great gift book for them. So that's why I put it up there as opposed to.
I'm thinking a great Yankee swap gift too.
Oh, it sure would. And like, as I found out, we were talking about doing readings of this, even for people who don't play softball, it's still pretty funny. So anyway, that's my whole goal is to make people laugh. And
I'm hoping you'll share your definition of beer with us.
Why don't I share a couple definitions of that right away? Just before we get to the the more serious book. No, it's not really that serious. So yeah, one of the ones I put on the back was Beer, a miracle substance that relieves a player's anxiety about failure while simultaneously causing failure. Another good one is Subs. This is also from the back. Players who replace the starting team when the puddles on the field get too deep. So as you can tell, I get a little kind of absurd in some cases. But here's two of my favorites. Cock. After fielding a ground ball, to draw one's arm back and hold it there for a split second before throwing the runner out at first. That's the...
Yep.
Cocky. After fielding a ground ball, to draw one's arm back and hold it there for 5 seconds before throwing the runner out at first. And then there's, I'll just read one more. Seeing eye single. A base hit that passes through a tight gap in the infield, chased by the umpire's dog.
I love this.
So
this book came after Debugging, and then this led to the other books that you have created?
No, this is actually the most recent one, although I've been kind of working on it for many, many years. I actually looked at an early manuscript, and it still had 2 spaces after every sentence, after every period. And I was like, oh man,
back in the day,
that goes back,
That was one of the most annoying grammar things that anybody did. I always had to correct it. It's like, no, that doesn't fit the style anymore.
There you go. It's not the way to go. But the other thing is that the book has, I found a cartoonist, as writers would be interested in this. I found a cartoonist on Upwork, and I told him what I wanted the cartoons to look like. But that's the style, and he just has this fantastic style. I'll show you one more.
It's kind of like Garfield-ish to me, the style that they use.
So I had ducks on the pond. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's see.
Yeah, raise them just a little bit higher.
So there's this. He's an absolutely, totally silly looking duck, and every time I look at that picture, it just cracks me up. So I was absolutely overwhelmingly pleased with what my cartoonist came up with. But anyway, that's for if you know somebody who plays softball, or if you just want something, it's a very light gift. That's great. But what I really am into is Ancient Mysteries of the Urban Legion. So this is the 3rd book of a trilogy. It has an alligator coming out of a sewer, but he's wearing Egyptian stuff. This is about looking at the world and with a different perspective and having it be a funny place. So I was, at the time, conspiracy theories weren't so big, and I was like, oh, what if there was a conspiracy behind absolutely everything that annoys you? Just like come up with conspiracies. Oh, that's because so and so is working with so and so, and I just came up with all these ridiculous things, as well as all the urban legends are true. Bigfoot's real, tinfoil hats really work. Just everything, just world. Okay. And then as I got through the trilogy, getting toward this one came out recently, a couple of years ago, actually, things have been getting very divisive in the world. And so I decided to use this book to explain back from the dawn of man how we got here. and do we have time to, what do we got?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Let me read this comes from very beginning of the book, and it doesn't explain why this is happening, but it poses the question, shall we say. Let me read it off my screen here. My eyes are better. Just read a little part of it. This is about a group called the Wacko Conspiracy Group, which are the good guys are all urban legend survivors. And they're monitoring, they've got this, they've got wiretaps basically into this underwater headquarters of the Wacko Conspiracy Group. It says 12 feet below the placid surface of the river and a few yards from Harvard's Weeks footbridge, finance professor Trace Watkins sat down for the regular Monday Wacko Conspiracy Group meeting. He sensed tension. The latest developments were, well, problematic. The boss couldn't complain that the group didn't work hard enough. In the previous month, they'd spewed a volcano of ridiculous conspiracy theories into cyberspace. Psychologist Chloe and scientist Paul did their jobs, assuring that only the exceptionally unbalanced could buy into such far-fetched crap. The whole point of the WCG was to make every theory sound crazy, so no one would believe the true ones about the corporation. Yet in the past few weeks, people started believing it, all of it, even the P-Anon story, the deep PTA holding children captive in school cafeteria basements and addicting them to pineapple pizza. Seriously? And did New Agers actually think that sunning their buttholes would assure vibrant health? Okay, what do you think? What happened these last couple of weeks? Brett, their law professor, spoke first. I fulfilled my duty. I've taken reasonable and customary measures to disassociate ourselves from any and all allegations concerning possible provocative materials. Despite the severity of these third-party actions, we remain immune to legal action. This is not about avoiding blame. I'm your legal counsel. It is, at this time and for all perpetuity, about avoiding blame. So it goes on with this group is actually a bunch of Harvard professors. I went to MIT, so I give Harvard a hard time as much as possible. And they're basically they work for the big conspiracy, and they are putting out these wacko conspiracies. So I make fun of conspiracy theorists a lot, but I also have I've got this concept of a conspiracy that's been around for literally ever, and it is steering humankind toward like Armageddon, and this divisiveness is part of it, and tinfoil hats are important. and anyway, so it's really silly. It's kind of Kurt Vonnegut-esque or Tom Robbins-like, if you like those two authors, in that it's satirical. I just try to make everything silly, but not completely silly. I've rewritten history. I talk about the dawn of religion in Egypt and the real purpose of Stonehenge, and they actually find the Holy Grail in this book. So it's intended to be a lot of fun, and to make, when you're done reading, to go out and see things happening in the world and go, oh yeah, I get that, I understand, and not take it too seriously, to come right back to my philosophy. So,
well, if you're just joining us, we are talking with Dave Agans from the New Hampshire Writers Project. He's one of our featured members. He has written Rec League Softball, but we're also learning about some of his other books as well. And if you're not familiar with the Holiday Showcase, head over to nhwritersproject.org. The address is on the ticker at the bottom of your screen. And please help us support over 55 of our members who are showcasing their books for the holidays. We would appreciate your support. So Dave, now I'm really curious, from someone who has graduated from MIT, how did you get to these humorous books, and like, where did you get your inspiration? Because, from when I've known you, you're just a very logical thinker. I think you have a background in engineering. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do you get from engineering to humor? I mean, because your stuff is so good.
Well, I was a humorist before I was an engineer, so
Okay.
I was writing funny stories in sixth grade. But I think part of it is I'm a humorist, but my humor tends to be pretty high level. So it's not your I Love Lucy kind of stuff. And I have jokes in this trilogy that I assume that maybe 5 people are going to get the joke, but I put them in there anyway because I get it, and that makes me happy. So. One of the interesting things about here and doing the Urban Legion trilogy is that I came up with technology that's kind of ridiculous, but actually kind of sounds plausible. Like the bad guys can murder people by shooting them with a dart that has epoxy. Epoxy is 2 things. There's a resin and a hardener. They shoot them with a dart that has hardener that reacts with trans fat in your blood. So it immediately coagulates all the trans fat into and causes a heart attack almost instantly, but it looks like a heart attack so it's undetectable. Nobody knows if they did it. And you go, well, that could work, Does irradiated flour, they irradiate flour, is that radioactive? Can you detect that with a radiation detector? Maybe it sort of sounds plausible. So anyway, I throw a lot of engineering jokes in there too, that a scientist or an engineer would go, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it sounds like a really interesting mix. I love it. And if you want to learn more about Dave, head over to his website at daveagans.com. And again, learning about our holiday showcase at nhwritersproject.org. You could purchase Dave's book at his website or at our holiday showcase. And I assume your stuff's on Amazon as well and other popular booksellers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it sounds like it would be a great gift for the holidays. I see it in stockings, and I see it as a great Yankee swap gift for sure.
Absolutely.
Dave, it's been really nice talking with you today. I appreciate you joining us and sharing a little bit about yourself. And before we part ways, is there anything else we should know about you or your work?
Just keep smiling. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Well, I love your mantra, and I agree that everyone should embrace that, especially for the holidays. So thank you for watching us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone.
Bye, Tracy.